you for being here. On this occasion, we are going to make these beautiful beaded earrings. We will need the following materials. Number 8 beads. In various colors, I'm going to do it this time, 2 centimeter sequins. We are going to use the earring back, the one you want to put on the earring. We are going to use a 1 centimeter ring. Also use a number 12 beading needle and thread buffalo, which is what they use for shoemaking. We are going to use beige thread. This time I'll do it that color. Let's thread the needle approximately of 1.5 meters. Let's do this with a single strand, so you shouldn't tie a knot. Let's take 6 beads. Remember that this time they are of varied colors. We take it to the bottom. Let's pass the needle on the back of the bead, but only for 3. Only for the first 3 beads. As you can see in the image, we spent our needle. We take out everything the thread, and we will be left like 2 columns. Now insert the thread through the 3 beads previously placed. We take out the thread and we press so that they are well placed, these 2 columns of these columns. We are going to make 7, repeating the same process. We take 3 beads and we passed on the opposite side. The thread came out from below. Going to pass it over the 3 last ones we placed. We always pass it through the last 3 beads we placed again. We place them and then we pass the needle for her again, doubly. We now have 3 columns and we move on again. We always spend double. You always have to push, and I'm holding the bars for when it happens, do not loosen the thread. They should always pass the thread through the opposite side of where the thread came from. We are going to make 7 columns of beads. We already have 6 columns. Let's place the last one. Remember that there are 7 columns or 7 bars, as I tell you sometimes. Now we are going to put the last 3. We pass the needle from bottom to top. Remember to go through the last 3 beads twice that they go placing. Now I'm going to change the position of the bars, because it's easier for me work from the inside out. We already made the 7 bars. Now look, I changed positions and I'm going to work from the inside out. I take 2 beads and pass the needle through the second thread, skipping the first one. And I'm going to pass the needle through those 2 beads. As seen in the image, I pass the needle through the 2 beads and take it out again for the first one I place. Step 3 times. For the second bead, and then I take it out again for the second bead. It should stay there. I'm always going to do this on the shore at the beginning. From now on, I will place a single bead and pass the needle below the horizontal thread, to then remove it again through the same bead. I repeat this process until I reach the end. I place the last bead from that line. I always pass the needle through the top, and I turn the fabric because I like to work from the inside out. Then I return inwards. We must always tighten the thread so that the fabric does not loosen. I take 2 beads again. I leave the first thread free and pass the needle by the second horizontal thread. This is something I will always do when starting a line. Then I pass the needle through the second bead, the one on the edge. And I take it out again through the second bead. When they take it out through the second bead, as seen in the video, they should always tighten well so that the thread is not visible. Nor does a knot form underneath of those beads. You should always tighten it. From now on, it is a bead. Same as the process we did in the line below. A bead, pass the needle through under the thread, and then they take it out through the bead that they finished placing until reaching the last thread of that row. As I told you before, I like to work from the inside out. So what I do is turn the fabric with your fingers to start again. We start as on previous occasions. We take 2 beads and pass the thread through. Then we insert the needle through the second horizontal bead. Then we pass the needle through the first bead, the second one again, and we return through this last one. Finally, we pull the thread through the second bead, and remember, when you pull out that thread, tighten it so that the fabric is not loose. Here, I'm squeezing. Look, we squeeze hard, and we do the same as in the other rows. We take 1 bead at a time until reaching the end. And again, we turn. We place 2 beads, leave the first thread free, just like before, and pass the needle through the second thread and the bead. Then, I take 2 more beads and go back through the first one. This will be the space left for the ring. We pass the thread now, yes, through the small bead that we had placed below the edge. These should be left lying down, and we review. We are going to review and pass the thread through those 4 beads again, the ones at the tip. Remember, that's where I'm going to place the ring to attach the earring back. The top part is now secured, and we are going to pass the thread through all the beads along that edge until we reach the bottom. Be careful not to tangle the thread. We pass our needle through all the beads until we reach the bottom. Remember these 3 beads. That line of 3 beads. It's like the base of our earring. We'll always use those 3. Now, let's get rid of the thread that was left over from the beginning. What we're going to do is cut it, and using a lighter, we'll burn the tip and gently press it down onto the seed bead. Do this very carefully, so you don't accidentally burn the thread that you still need. And now we are going to start. Placing the rows of our earring. Let's start by placing 12 beads. We take 12 beads. We take a sequin. And we took a small bead. We upload our beads. We take a sequin. We take a bead. This time, we are placing 12 plus 1. Let's call it that, 12 plus 1, and we go back through the 12 beads. Below is the sequin and a seed bead. And above, we have to pass the needle through the 3 that I told you are the main row from our earring. We will always use those 3, that row of 3 up there. We are going back through 12 beads. And below was the sequin, and the last bead the one we placed last. Now we go down through the other row of 3 beads. And we are going to use now 14. We place 14, 14, a sequin, and a seed bead. That is 14 plus 1, so we take 14 beads. Of different colors, like this time. I take my lensequin, my sequin, I take a seed bead. Remember here in the second, we are doing 14 plus 1. When I say plus 1 is that we place that one. After the sequin, and we return for the 14 for which we placed, and we return for the 14th for which we placed first. 14, and we must remove the needle, pass it through the 3 which are like the main bar of our earring. We're always going to work with those 3 up there. Now we are going to remove the needle. They must tighten the thread enough so that it cannot be seen, but not so strong that they become stiff, those little bangs. The bangs must have movement. They can't stay stiff because that will look bad.
We are now taking 16 beads. If you notice, we are increasing by 2 beads. The first was 12 plus 1, then 14 plus 1, and now it's 16 plus 1. When I say plus 1, it is the one that we put after large sequin. I take my sequin, I put 1, the one I tell you plus 1, and we go back through the 16 beads. Until you get there, and take it out by the 3 initials, the 3 above the main ones. And I gently pull out the thread so that it doesn't get tangled. Remember to tighten enough so that the thread is not visible, but not so much that those fringes will remain taut. We go back through the 3 beads on the side. And now we take 18 beads. 18, a sequin, and 1 more, that is 18 plus 1. This would be the center, en faces. This would be half of our earring. It would be the longest fringe. We took our 18 beads and a sequin and a seed bead. That is, here it was 18 plus 1. Remember that we were increasing by 2. We go back through the 18 beads. We take out the needle through the 3 base that are above. What we are going to do is repeat the process, but already decreasing. If this one was 18, now the next one is 16. 16 plus 1. Remember to adjust the thread enough so that don't notice it, but not so much that the fringe remains rigid. Straight and motionless. The fringes must retain their fall and mobility. The fringes must retain their fall and mobility. We now take 14 beads, 1 sequin, and 1 additional one, that is 14 plus 1, and in the last, 12 plus 1. As I told you, from the beginning they were 12, 14, 16, 18 the longest, and then it decreases again, 16, 14, and 12, which is the last one. This is the last of 12. Remember 12, 14, 16, 18, and then decreases 16, 14, 12. They are always returned by the first. Those before the sequin, 12, 14, we leave. And now we are going to pass the thread through different beads until reaching the top. Since we had left over enough thread, I'm going to get up there and pass it again for the 4 initials, which is where we are going to place our ring to strengthen that thread or those 4. And no, it will go away. Disassemble over time or with movement. So I'm going to have a double time there. That is, there it will be 4 times in total. The thread. Then we'll pass it on by different beads. It's not that there is an order or anything specific. You just pass it through different beads of the woven, simply to give it a little bit of stiffness to that tissue. And we reached some point. to be able to cut our thread. And we do the same. What we did with the thread down there, that we burn, is the same thing we are going to do. Then I pull my thread out at one end, and I'm going to cut it. And with the lighter, very carefully, I'm going to burn that tip and try to stick it to the bead. Now we are going to place our ring. Remember, that's what we left the 4 for. Beads up there. We place our earring back, whichever you prefer. We close it, and our earring is ready. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.